Well, anyway, some joker made a comment about me using the same shirt 2 days in a row, whatever. So I'm doing this video without a shirt. I'm in Mexico anyway, so it's kind of hot right now. But hey, today, Monday, February 26th, Tilray followed the exact pattern I said it was going to follow in the previous video because of shorts manipulating the market. Even though there's been great news about Tilray, what happens is every day uh, when the market opens, or just before the market opens, Tilray goes up a little bit, and then when the market opens, it goes down, and it stays within this trading range of like 6, 7, 8 cents, so these shorts can get out of their position. And this is a manipulation, a coordinated effort, I believe, to allow these short trading hedge funders to get out without suffering a loss. Because, oh, poor babies. They don't want to suffer a loss. They shouldn't have to. Oh, give me a break. I'm surprised that SEC hasn't, after the $200 million fine against Morgan Stanley and the other trading houses, I'm surprised the SEC isn't stepping in and saying, hey, this is a market manipulation. And I'm wondering when the people at Tilray are going to step in and actually ask the SEC to investigate. An individual like me can only do so much. But if Tilray were to step in and say, hey, what's going on? The SEC would pay attention. And but like I said, so what happens is in the beginning of the market, it goes up just a little bit and it goes down. And somebody's making this 8 cent difference every day on 13 million shares today it was, which is pretty low volume actually for Tilray. Uh, and it went, it went up to what, 178 at one point, and then came back down and stayed around 173, 174 all day. Um, and So then, like usually at the end of the day, today it went down a little bit at the end of the day, and went down today a little bit at the end of the aftermarket. So, but usually what happens is it goes up just a little bit, so that the next day they can do the same thing. And this is obviously a blatant price manipulation happening by short traders. Um, you can say what you want about the float. It doesn't really matter how many shares are in the float, because, like I said, the float's still controlled by a market maker who's getting that money every time somebody buys a share. And so the market maker really is not trying to sell shares cheap, you know. They're trying to make money. They're trying to have it go up. And this is the other thing that I wanted to mention. Typical of these right wing evangelical freaks, MAGA freaks, wanting the market to go down and betting on the market to go down, and these short traders, like I can't remember their names, Michael Burry or something like that, betting on failure. That's not very human. That's not very kind. That's not very Christian if you're a Christian, you know. And I don't believe in betting on failure. I go long. I'm letting everybody know I'm going long, baby. And I am long. I'm long Tilray for sure. And but the thing is, what happened today was exactly what I thought was going to happen. There's great news that came out last week, and these short traders are still trapped in this position, and they desperately needed it to go down to $1.69 or $1.70 or whatever their exit strategy point is that they're banking on, and it just didn't quite make it for them. So they're going to try and still manipulate it. They're even going to try and use their yellow journalistic press to try and create news articles to sow fear in the minds of Tilray stock owners, to try and see if they can bottom feed and scoop up some shares still without having to suffer a loss. And so what's probably going to happen, yeah, oh, and I mentioned this too, or maybe I didn't, but the U.S. Congress is about to go into default again if it doesn't sign another omnibus bill or whatever the hell they sign every 3 months to make, to fund the government to keep it going. But they're being really stupid in Congress because they don't need to do that. If they just legalize marijuana and tax it, then they wouldn't have a budget deficit. In a couple of years, they'd have a budget surplus. They wouldn't have to be, signing these bills every 3 months and trying to get everybody to agree in Congress how to proceed, and using it as a political event more than anything else, making people in the and the country suffer on the economic side because of their bullshit politics. And so, like, I call this too that, if they would just legalize it right now, to the point, like the DEA rescheduling and the Safe Bank Act, if they would just do that, it would solve a lot of problems and free up a lot of income, money for the companies that are involved in the sector, and it would allow the U.S. government to tax the sale of marijuana on a federal level, which would benefit the federal government. Now, I'm surprised I haven't seen a candidate come out and say that that's what they should, that that's what they want to do. I wouldn't be surprised. Actually, this is a prediction of mine. If Nikki Haley comes, if she loses and doesn't get on the Republican ticket, she'll be a third party presidential candidate. And she actually might be the one to come and say, hey, I'm a Republican, but I'm also for fiscal responsibility and this and that and the other thing. And yeah, I'm against abortion, but hey, I believe marijuana should be legal so we can tax it. She would win the election. I mean, whichever candidate says that, if Biden comes out and legalizes it before the election as the president, he'll win. Why? Because over half the country is in favor of legalization. Obviously, if like over half the states have already legalized, I mean, that tells you right there that the voters want what the voters want. And so whoever comes out and says full legalization, on a federal level, they're going to win that election, even if it's a third party candidate. Because I believe there's a lot of disenfranchised voters within the Republican Party, as we've seen from South Carolina. All those people who voted for Haley instead of Trump, and on the Democratic side, there's a lot of disenfranchised voters too, and then there's a lot of non-affiliated voters and third party voters who would vote for that person in a heartbeat if they would just come out and say, we're going to legalize marijuana on a federal level. So that's what I think is about to happen. Someone's about to make that announcement in their campaign, and that will, in and of itself, will be a catalyst that will drive the sector up and leave the shorts in the dust, just like GameStop. Anyway, Leopold Richard Bamberger Alavizo is reporting to you about what happened Monday, today, February 26th, and what the harbinger of tomorrow is going to bring. Anyway, harbinger, I can't remember which one it is. I'm managing several languages in my head all the time, so at my age, maybe I forget the pronunciation of some things, or like the other day I said pool instead of float, and whatever. Everybody got the message, I think, what I was talking about. So, like I said, this week should be a turnaround week for Tilray, and we should see that happen. Leopold Richard Bamberger Alavizos reporting to you about the status of the marijuana sector in Tilray in particular.